Hi, this is my first video on YouTube. I decided to do it as a sort of a video diary about my own narcissistic abuse and my family's weird dysfunctional dynamic. And okay, so I popped a hat on and I have this braid that's trying too hard. But I'm a mom and I'm in my 50s and I just don't have time to be vain anymore about that kind of thing. So I don't know what I'm going to look like in videos to you. Sorry. Okay, I'll just say that up front. And if you need to click off for any reason, you have my blessing and my applause and greetings and salutations, because I'm fine with that. I won't get offended. I guess I want to talk about the weird dynamic in my family. And I'm sorry, I'm messing with my shoe. My family consisted of an alcoholic, narcissistic, serial cheating father, who I will refer to as Don. Don as in Don Draper from the Mad Men series. If you've ever seen it, he's an advertising executive in the 60s, a real mover and shaker, charismatic, good-looking, philanderer, slight drunkard, party boy. And that was definitely my father. And my mom was Betty Draper, the typical 50s, 60s housewife. She did not smoke, but other than that, she had the same sort of like unhappy, projecting, a little bit histrionic, very controlling, very emotionally manipulating, martyr complex, codependent, probably, yeah, definitely enabling of my father. Okay, so the nurturing of all the children, kept the perfect house. Okay, so somewhere between Donna Reed and Betty Draper. Kind of Betty Draper without all the booze, I guess. So, although my mom would have a cocktail here and there, she was just a good girl from a farm family, one generation removed from the Grapes of Wrath Depression era. So she didn't expect a lot out of life. And something interesting about my mother that I want to mention is, and it never occurred to me growing up. It only started occurring to me when I started working on my own codependency and my own attachment disorders, a disorder which some call love addiction, although that's not in the DSM. It's acknowledged. And I started working on my own issues with I don't really have that big abandonment issue as much as I have, like, I suppose it's an abandonment issue on some point, but it's more like I just didn't have a sense of self growing up. I was so dialed into pleasing everyone else that I didn't know that I didn't have a self-esteem. I had a lot of confidence in my abilities and my talents, but that's not the same thing, and I always thought it was. In fact, people who would see me perform, I was a singer for years, they'd see me perform and they just thought they could say any mean thing to me because I came off so confident and so capable, and if they had a harsh criticism, they'd just lay it out there. And I didn't go on American Idol for a reason. I don't like being criticized and put down. I like doing what I'm doing, and if you like it, applaud. If you don't, there's the door. And I didn't really perform for getting fame or appreciation or applause or even money out of it. I did it because I'm an artistic person. That was my talent. I loved music. I took to it naturally. I have a talent, and I have the talent to back up my claims. And I had a long career doing it. I really had a lot of fun. It was fun. I had a fantasy life as a codependent, so it made perfect sense that performing would come naturally. I don't make any apologies for liking to be a performer, especially that I'm a good performer, and I hold my own. And I don't feel like I have to apologize for getting on the stage or picking up the mic and shining a little bit. I think it's okay. I think we all have a right to shine in this world, and the more the merrier, I say. But anyway, my mom, how was I relating this to my mom? Oh, my mom had this sort of codependent martyrdom in her. And when I started working on my own stuff, I got to thinking about a thing that she would say. She would romanticize my dad's pursuit of her when she was young. She got married at like 19. They didn't have me for 10 years into their marriage. They waited 5 years to even have kids. But so my sister is 5 years older, and then there was a brother 2 years older. There is a brother 2 years older, and then I have a younger sister. So there's 4 of us. But they got married when my mom was 19 and my dad was like 25. He was 6 years older. And my mom tells the story of my dad going to her dad and asking him for my mom's hand in marriage and his blessing. And my grandfather said to my dad, I'll let you marry her, but you have to promise me that you'll never hit her. Now, that's just not thinking big enough, in my opinion. But that story was told like it was the most romantic thing, her dad, the most loving father adoration type moment that she could, my dad loved me so much that all he said to your dad was, I don't care if you marry her as long as you just never hit her. Like, never hitting her should be like obvious. Okay, that shouldn't even need to be mentioned, in my opinion. I'm thinking, oh my God, did my dad say something like that to my ex-husband and my current husband? I've been married for 17 years. I've been married twice. I trust me, he didn't ask my dad's permission. We were grown-ups. That didn't happen. He didn't even meet my parents. Well, yeah, he met them before we got married, but we eloped. We didn't have a wedding because I didn't want my family messing it up and being crazy. My mom goes nuts at family weddings, so I learned from my younger sister's wedding and my brother's wedding. Sorry. I didn't mean to yawn. I'm so tired. I learned not to have a wedding. I had a wedding, a small wedding. It was formal, but it was small. The first time I got married, and so that I'd done the cupcake dress. I just didn't need to do it again. And anyway, so her big pride and joy in her claim of how much her parents loved her was that they sent her off with this guy who was older and who, hey, bye, have a good life, just don't hit her. Like, that was the biggest thing you could ever hope for. And it just, I'm stunned that, I think that, I don't know if anyone else has that reaction. I mean, I know his heart was in the right place. I know what he's saying is, take care of my daughter, don't ever hit her. Just letting you know. But I don't, as long as you never hit her, she should be happy. It just wasn't, I don't know, it bothers me. It still haunts me, that phrase, that story. But my mom would tell it. And she would talk about how much, my dad pursued her and had to steal her from another man and blah, blah, blah. And, it's a big romantic story. Turns out, he was cheating on her basically from the year that I was born until, and I think he was still having contact with the woman he was originally involved with. There were apparently some other women too, but she was this long-term affair that she had with my dad, and she was like a teenager, like 18, 19, and he was in his 30s, mid-30s when I was born. So she hung around for a long time. My mom found out that he had this affair 3 weeks before their 50th wedding anniversary party that I was paying for, or we were all paying for, but I had mostly put most of the money into it. And then everything changed, and my mom was like, I don't want a party. We thought, oh my gosh, they're going to finally get divorced after 50 years. Woohoo! Because they were so toxic when we were growing up and hated each other so much that I was always surprised they didn't get a divorce. I remember praying they would get a divorce because then I thought, well, maybe I can, maybe I can have a little peace and quiet. Maybe I can move wherever Narcilla's going to be. Narcilla, by the way, is my older sister. So she's my primary narcissistic abuser, who learned from the best, my parents. And Golden Boy is my brother, and Angel Face is my sister. So my mom and dad are Don and Betty Draper. And so now you know all the players. Would I say I was just the scapegoat? Mostly, but I was more invisible than anything. And then when I was scapegoated, it was usually from my sister. Although my parents scapegoated me on my sister's say-so. Like, she got me in trouble many times, twisting tall tales or dramatically embellishing the story to her favor and unfavorably toward me. And without even questioning my side of the story, my parents would often burst into rage and start beating me. So there's a lot of violence, a lot of yelling, a lot of drinking, a lot of cussing from my dad, a lot of secondhand smoke. Let's see, how many other narcissistic things can you do to your children? Just emotionally checking out, not really being available. He'd come home, but he'd pour 2 tumblers of vodka every night with like this much orange juice. And he'd pickle his brain until, he started to snore and we all went to bed. So my mom took care of the kids. It was very much like, oh, here are your kids. And so my mom fed us and clothed us. And because we had a roof over our head and clothes on our back, we could, that was, asking for anything extra was just, for birthdays and Christmas. Now, my dad was a mover and shaker. He was highly successful. And so he had money. They were not poor. Okay. They grew up poor and my dad was successful. So they had an upper middle class background. Now, to tell you the story of how I started to notice narcissistic abuse in my life as an adult, and when I went back and retrace my steps, I could see some of these stories coming to life and going, aha, oh my God, that happened to me. Yes, that's sure, I'm a codependent. Sure, I'm messed up. Sure, I've got issues. But I didn't just happen in a vacuum. And she played a role. They all played a role. And I was really fascinated in figuring out, because I wanted to get healthy, what was my family's real story. And so I dug a little deeper and started to remember stories. And one of them I'm going to share right now is Christmas when I was 11. And I was in 6th grade and we had just started attended, this was December, so we'd started in September in a brand new elementary school, which was really close in our neighborhood, and we could ride bikes or walk really easily. It was great. And so I thought maybe my sister and I were going to get bikes, my younger sister, Angel Face. And I thought we were going to get bikes even though we didn't ask for bikes, because it just made practical sense. And Christmases were always just way over the top, so it wouldn't have surprised me. Every time I got something, my sister got it. Or every time my sister got something, I got it. Our birthdays were 3 weeks apart. And so a lot of times I would ask for something and then I'd see her get it 3 weeks before me because she would ask for the same thing. She was my little sister, so she looked up to me and copied everything I did. And it was okay. And there's a couple painful stories like that, but I don't know what my mom was not an only child and had a lot of competition with her sisters, so I'm surprised that she would go out of her way to do something what I'm about to tell you, which was so uneven and unfair. She pulls me in on Christmas Eve into the garage. Just pulls me away for some reason. She gets my attention and she says, oh, come here, I want to talk to you. So she pulls me into the garage, and of course Narcilla is over her left shoulder, standing there, because it's going to get good. My sister knows what's going to happen to me, and she wants to see. So she's standing there behind my mom with this look on her, this little narc expression. She's 16, mind you, driving her own car, and is still interested in messing with my existence. So she does this. You know the look, right? You know the look. I know you know the look. Anyway, so she's standing there with that look on her face, the smirk. And my mom says, Rainbow. Oh, yeah, my name's Rainbow. She says, Rainbow, we have got how'd she say it? We are giving your sister a new bicycle. And for a second, I'm like, I see the bike and it's fabulous. And I'm thinking, well, where's mine? Because it just has always been whatever she got, I got the same thing in a different color. And so there's no bike for me. There's just one bike. And at first I see the bike and I think it might be mine and I'm kind of excited. And then I'm thinking, wait, where's the other one? Then my mom explains that the bike isn't for me. It's for Angel Face. And before my mom can continue to tell me the rest of it, Narcilla chimes in with, oh, and you're going to have my old bike. And so my mom goes, yeah, we're gonna fix it up. And we're going to give you Narcilla's old bike. Of course, she doesn't call her Narcilla, but, you know. And I said, I'm sure the expression on my face was just, like that, like. And I see my sister smiling. And I'm trying to keep my chin from quivering. And I managed to not produce tears. Because I knew that if I showed any disappointment, any kind of lack of gratitude for whatever they decided they were going to give me, showed any disappointment, because there was only 3 people allowed to have any negative emotions. It was my parents and Narcilla. And the rest of us were to suck it up and my mom would say things like, get happy. You know, if I started crying about something or being upset about something, she'd say, you're spoiled, get happy. You're spoiled. You know, she'd always say that. And I wasn't any more spoiled than any other kid in my block or that time, because I didn't know anything different. I learned not to ask for anything. So I don't see how she could think I was spoiled. But the idea is, I guess, if you get the wrong toy or you get the wrong thing, you're just supposed to smile and go, thanks. So I kept it together by the grace of Godiverse. I'm not kidding. I heard, hold it together, because I knew that if I cried, Narcilla would torment me for years over it. You know, oh, you're going to cry about it? Why don't you cry about it? I mean, that's the kind of stuff she would say. She was just mean like that. If I cried, I was mocked and jeered and like tormented. It wasn't worth it. So I learned to dial it down and dial into other people's emotions and turn mine off. And I felt pain and I cried a lot, but I didn't cry in front of them. So I said to my mom, and I'm thinking in my head, okay, Narcilla's bike. Let me just tell you about Narcilla's bike. Narcilla had a stripped out Schwinn 10-speed that had gears that didn't work, and it was impossible to pedal. It was a hideous forest green color that was all scratched up. The seat was jacked up and torn. The handlebars that usually had the nice matching tape, all the tape was gone. No whistles and bells. Tires were old. I mean, it was a piece of shit. And they were trying to feed me bullshit politely with a knife and fork. And I just decided that I wasn't going to take it. And in my head, I decided that they weren't going to burn me. So I said, oh, okay. And my mom's like, are you okay with that? I felt my ears burning. I felt my face going red. And I'm like, yeah. And I turned really fast and I went inside the house and I went up to my bedroom and I cried, because all it did was reinforce the lie that my sister had been telling me my whole life, that my parents didn't really like me or want me, and no one really liked me, that I was annoying, and that I was annoying. And being annoying meant that I deserved every shitty treatment that she was going to dish out. Whatever she thought about me, whatever she said about me, I deserved it. And when I finally called her on it years later as an adult and said, I just want to know what it is that I've done to you. I would love you to tell me, this is your freebie. Give me the list, because I'm here to own it all. And she couldn't come up with anything. And she would say like, well, I don't hate you. Or she'd say something like, you're my sister and I love you dearly. And I said, no, you don't. Bullshit. You do not. You do not love me, because love is not an emotion. Love it's not a noun. It's a verb. It's how you treat people. And I figured out in my late 40s how that my family really did love me. They talk love. They say the word a lot because they want everyone to think we're this big Brady Bunch love fest. But we're a dysfunctional pile of toxic, viscous ooze of pain and torment and sadness, and I don't know what you'd call it. You know, it's like poking a sleeping bear. It's just like they couldn't just let people, they couldn't be supportive. I always thought I gaslit myself into thinking that they loved me and that they had my back, every one of them, and they don't. They secretly resented me my whole life, and I didn't get it. I would feel bad about something, and I would feel bad for feeling bad. My feelings would get hurt, and I would just be like, I'm sorry, my feelings are hurt. And then I would have to apologize for being so needy and so annoying that I had feelings that could get hurt. I was shamed for that. So there's other little stunts that my sisters have pulled on me that I'm going to talk about. But there was Narcilla, there was her smirk, and there was my mom getting ready to shame me if I'd had any kind of, if I had protested at all. If I had said, what kind of shit is that? Or I wouldn't have said that, but hey, what kind of crap is that, Mom? How can you get her a bike and not me? And let me tell you, they had the money, believe me. My parents drove Cadillacs and Mercedes. They had the money, okay? They didn't want to get me us both a bike. They were just being stingy, and they wanted to recycle. They thought giving me my sister's old bike and telling me on Christmas Eve at age 11 that I'm somehow going to be okay with that. I don't know what brain tumor my mom had or what the fuck was going on in her mind that would make that okay, because I am a mother and there's no way I would do that to my child or anyone else's. I would buy the little freaking block bikes if I had to keep from hurting some kids' feelings. So I'm not accepting that. And if I were to bring up that story, I'm just coming into these stories now. But if I were to bring that story up when my parents were both alive, I can tell you what, they would have been like, are you kidding me? Are you still mad about that? Are you going to hold that against us forever? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, no, forgive me. You don't owe me anything. This isn't me saying, oh, you treated me. This is me saying, guess what, folks? I'm a codependent and I have issues. And I have issues because shit didn't just happen to me in a vacuum because you guys all participated. So while I start doing my inventory, your inventory is going to be done right along with me. And, a narcissist would tell you, oh, you're just doing my inventory. They would get enough of the 12-step lingo or the psychological lingo to use it against you. They don't actually get better or care about changing anything. They just want to say, like, you don't use your mumbo jumbo on me. Or that was one of my brother's favorites. He's a flying monkey. But my sister definitely thinks, oh, I hope you're working on yourself. Oh, yeah, believe me. Oh, yeah, I am. I've showed up for myself as an adult. I'm not re-traumatizing. I'm not angry about this anymore. I'm here co-partnered with my complete, whole, integrated self saying, look, people, I know that you're out there. And I know there's people right now that are working hard and struggling and I'm biting their nails over whether or not they should go no contact with their narcissistic bitch of a sister. And I'm just telling you, I didn't get healthy. I didn't start even getting healthy. I went no contact 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I went no contact. And I didn't start getting healthy until that day. That's the day. When I decided I'd had enough. How many dirt sandwiches did I need to eat before I figured it out? I mean, I'm not stupid, but I felt stupid for not seeing it sooner. But there were so many layers of dysfunction, so many layers of gaslighting, so many layers of abusive trauma that I needed to fix, I needed to work on, I needed to acknowledge, I needed to release. So verbalizing this as cathartic as writing is, verbalizing this is a gift to myself. And I thank you. Now I'm at 25 minutes, so I'm going to wrap it up and say thank you for watching. And I hope that something I say resonates. If nothing else, I hope you're just like, man, have a good day, sister girl, because I'm just, I'm not here to teach anybody anything or to bitch about my problems or to bitch about my family. I'm here to say, this is what happened. This is who I got. This was the cards I was dealt. Look at it. Look at it with me, because, and if you have anything you want to share about your sisters or your family, comment. I'll try to remember to check and read them. And I thank you for watching, because I'm going to wrap this one up and start another one. And let me just say, I bow to the light in you, and I pray that you have a speedy recovery. And I pray that you get the tools from whatever source you get to stand up for yourself and to stand in your own story without shame and without hesitation, speaking the things that happened to you, speaking what was once unspeakable, giving yourself the voice to let it come out of your body. Because I think when I hold on to this shit, I'm going to bring, bad stuff, like bad diseases. So I need to let it out. And so I thank you for watching, and until next time.